I love a good book, and I love to share them with you as well. So I am thrilled to reveal our latest Cityline Book Club pick with everyone. It is called When We Lost Our Heads by Heather O'Neill, a Canadian treasure. This is a spellbinding story about two young women whose friendship is so intense, it not only threatens to destroy them, it changes the course of history. I will admit, I'm fangirling just a little bit here because Heather O'Neill is joining me right now to talk about the book, and I'm a longtime fan. Heather, thank you for joining us today.
Oh, it's wonderful to be here. It's so nice to see you, Tracy.
Good to see you, too. So this book really stands out to me, not only because of its historical nature, but the themes of feminism and class and sexuality. So I want to talk a little bit about where the idea came from.
It came to me one day. I was just looking at this drawing of Montreal from the Victorian era, and it had these young girls who were going to a costume ball and dressed as characters from the French Revolution, which was a popular costume at the time. And then I just had this idea that I would have a novel about a group of Victorian girls who were also had this revolutionary drive in them and desire to change things and were completely uncontrollable. And I wanted to show how women in the upper class, which I called the Golden Mile, were living, and then women in the lower classes, which I call the Squalid Mile, and what happens when the two of them kind of meet and there's a conflict between them and sort of revolution.
Absolutely. Okay, your protagonists, Sadie and Marie, they have such a complex relationship. Let's talk a little bit about their friendship.
From the second they meet, it's love at first sight, but it's also this complex hatred at first sight because they know the second they meet that their lives are sort of going to be usurped by this friendship. So it kind of examines the obsessive and wonderful aspects of friendship. But I also wanted that dark edge that we have in our most intimate, crazy relationships where there's such an element of competitiveness, antagonism. The two of them are able to push each other into the strangest professions and domains.
It's amazing that way. It's like this incredible pull between these two, but it's like they're frenemies, but they're also incredibly attracted to each other. It was so good. And it was just delicious, I think, to dive into so many complex women characters, Marie, Sadie, Mary, and Jean-Pauline. So I'd love to know, how fun was it for you to be able to write such complex women?
It was very fun because they're also so problematic too. So they have, especially Sadie and Marie were two very corrupt characters, and they were both inspired by figures from history. Like each one has a little drop of history in them. And Marie Antoine has a drop of Marie Antoinette, and Sadie Arnett has a drop of the Marquis de Sade. So they were both problematic figures in history. So it was so much fun to create these lovable, dynamic troublemakers. I was really interested in describing how young girls worked in factories at that time, because we think of the Industrial Revolution as a time sort of dominated by men and male factory workers, but they were filled with women, particularly young girls who they were very in demand because you could pay them less than any other worker. And they were so petite that they would have them jumping in between machines and cleaning them out, and sort of this capitalist exploitation of that wonderful nymph-like quality of young girls. So I was interested in the dangers of that life and just women in general. I wanted this novel that centered women and made them the driving force of the action, which was unusual at the time because we think in the Victorian era, women were just supposed to focus on marriage, but there are all these women who have no interest in being married because they know the second they get married, their ambitions will be thwarted. So I was interested in what would they do if they don't get married and just actually fulfill their childhood insane dreams.
How do you want readers to feel when they get to the last page?
The last page. I want them to feel like they've been on an adventure with me, and there's lots of I mean, I kind of wrote it in the spirit of these old Victorian novels where you have sort of all these wonderful twists on twists. So I want everyone to kind of, and I love having a twist at the end of novels because then it makes the reader go back and revisit everything and then sort of have to reread it again in their head. So I just want a feeling of kind of this joyous elation, but at the same time to know like it's inappropriate and feel a little like perhaps I shouldn't have been so supportive of these psychopaths just because they're women.
There's nothing I like better than a flawed character, let me tell you. And this book is full of them, and you will fall for them, and you'll be rooting for them, and then you'll be saying, why am I rooting for them? Heather, thank you so much.